Good morning, citizens. Welcome, welcome. It is a beautiful Monday morning. How is everybody? We had a crazy week last week that we are going to be recapping today. I was just talking to a friend this morning saying, like, I don't know about doing the weekly recaps because I have to relive the whole crazy week all over again. But I do like to just do the one show instead of like the daily um, recaps every day, because then it's just like you can just kind of binge it all at once. And especially for those of you who have work during the week, I remember I had a comment in one of my videos that was like, dang you, Blake, I couldn't catch up all week. And now on my Sunday, on my day off, I got to catch up. And I was like, don't worry about it. I will catch you up on Monday morning. Hey, everybody. So we have a couple members here this morning. We have Bizio, our very own Miriam. Good morning, Miriam. She said it felt lonely in the chat. You were early, huh? Um, so Bizio is a member. If you are a member of the channel, you get to get your name highlighted, and you also get a super chat, one free super chat a month. So for $2.99, you can get a free super chat. If you guys wanted to subscribe this morning, you can hit the join button up there. And we're just going to go through all the crazy stuff. A ton of stuff happened last week. The docket was pretty busy. There's Joe, also a member. Shout out to him. And so we're just going to go ahead and go over all of that, what's happening next. I did do a really cool episode with Bocce Go Hawks over on TikTok on Saturday. If you guys wanted to go check that out, we did a deep dive into all the unsealed disclosures and the text messages that were unsealed. We didn't quite get through all the text messages. I still feel like I need to do another episode on that. But yeah, so let's go ahead and let's get started and get into it. Let me see. Let me see here. Okay, so we always start now with our very favorite, what I call the New Testament, because I always said if the lawsuit info website is the Bible, then they're the Old Testament, and Docket Updates is the New Testament, because um, docketupdates.com is a website started by Carol Snyder over on TikTok. And it is so cool because you can get the latest news right here in the blog. It's got a court calendar. You can get the cases, all the different cases. We have Stephanie Jones, we have Jed Wallace, so you can check in on all the cases, the key players for those just getting started. And she just added the disclosures here. Let me just click on it real quick, which is what we went over, which was everything that was unsealed, her second and third amended disclosures of these are all the players and the people that are going to be involved. This is pretty much the final list of everybody that has something to say on the case. We have Blake's list, we have Wayfarer's list, and then combined who they both wanted to call or thought that, they would have something to say on it. So we did do an episode. You guys make sure to go check that out. On Saturday, it's below in the live videos. If you guys want to go, we went through each person, all the scenarios, matched them up to documents. It was a really fun show. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start off with docket updates. So if you go all the way down to the latest news, we're going to start on the 3rd, which is that she had filed a motion to compel the privilege logs. So here's that document here. She basically wants to compel them to show these privilege logs, saying it's not privileged, making up all kinds of excuses. And then a couple days later, we had Wayfarer reply and clap back on the motion to compel. And there was a couple Easter eggs in there, because lo and behold, it was a late night drop. Number 920, with Wayfarer replying to Blake Lively's motion to compel for signal messages. So she was trying to get the signal messages under saying that they weren't privileged and all this. And one of the things that was really juicy, I was like, point 3 is particularly juicy, mentioning a signal voice note from Wayfarer exists with discussion on communications between New York Times and Stephanie Jones. It says, there is no reason to describe the voice notes with any more particularity than the description already provided in the privilege log. For example, item 3 is described as a voice note attachment to attorney-client communication, seeking and providing legal advice concerning the nature, contents, and implications of communications obtained by the New York Times from Blake Lively and Stephanie Jones. So a lot of people were like, were those discussions with attorneys in regards to Van Sham? Another thing that we learned was that um, part of the signal messages that she wants to uncover is in regards to the investigation. Do you guys remember that in January, Wayfarer started an investigation through their company um, because it was the first time that they had heard about the SH complaints and all that stuff. According to them, they said, it was never investigated before because there was never a formal complaint. But with the CRD, that counts as a formal complaint. So they had to start an internal investigation in the workplace for the, workplace harassment alleged. And so it was a company called Rain Investigations, and that's part of the privilege logs that she wants, that she's trying to compel them to look into is that. Um, and so I found that pretty crazy because the 2 things that she wants to get into are things that she shouldn't be getting into because the judge already told her, um, that she's not gonna be able to get into the Rain investigations documents. Remember, she had asked that before? So, that happened, and, the biggest thing that happened last week was the Jed Wallace dismissal in, Blake Lively's second amended complaint was dismissed. So if you guys remember, she tried with the blue jeans baby, saying that New York was the proper jurisdiction because she wore the blue jeans and took a picture in her New York penthouse. And I love Jed Wallace's clapback when he's like, "What do you mean, blue jeans baby?" The song is LA lady, not New York lady, which is where she lives. So that's the address that she gave us in Texas is LA. So um it was pretty funny. So anyways, there was a dismissal, and so I gathered up all the latest insights into that. We had little girl attorney saying that he ruled on no jurisdiction. He recapped Lively's original December 2024 complaint and didn't name Wallace. He was later added in 2025. Wallace moved to dismiss, arguing no personal jurisdiction in New York since he'd worked or lived there. He goes on to say that courts need personal jurisdiction to hear claims against the defendant, and Wallace has showed no meaningful connection to New York. There was no work, there was no business there, and the judge agreed that he would dismiss him, but gave Lively a chance to. Is this an older one to amend and try again? Let me see. No, this is I don't know why she said to amend it. Oh, not to amend and try again. He basically told her that, she could go and try in a different jurisdiction. So I don't know, what that one's about, but, oh, this is the amended complaint. Okay, so it's recapping what had happened. So she could amend and try again, and so then she filed an amended complaint, and again, he moved to dismiss. Judge emphasized her claims against him centered on reputational harm, not direct business activity in New York. And that's the thing that a lot of content creators were talking about was that it was reputational harm, not so much defamation. And so a lot of people were like, he's kind of showing his cards on what he thinks about the case, that he doesn't necessarily think it's like defamation as much as it is reputational harm. His hiring during the film premiere in New York didn't create jurisdiction. Says Lively argued that Wallace helped create a website in New York, and the judge shut that down as well. Says just making a globally accessible site isn't transacting business in New York. So he shut her down on that. Her complaint showed the site published public filings and wasn't targeted to New York residents. The conspiracy and retaliation angle. Lively claimed Wallace was aware of and supported Wayfarer's alleged retaliatory lawsuit. The judge said that no facts have shown that Wallace directed, controlled, or requested the filing. If anything, the complaint portrays Wayfarer using Wallace as an agent, not the other way around. So after 41 pages, the court refused to stretch the long arm statute to reach Wallace. So he's dismissed from the New York case, but Lively can refile in a proper venue. So go check out Little Girl Attorney. I love her stuff. She's over on TikTok. I do think she has a YouTube, but she doesn't really post on there. But then we had not actually Golden, who is also another favorite attorney of mine over on TikTok, and her her breakdown says Judge Lyman sees a reputation case and Lively sanction strategy could backfire in the Wayfarer battle. So let's see what she had to say. She says, Judge, Judge Lyman's view on Lively's damages. NAG explains that the Jed Wallace dismissal order hints at how Judge Lyman views Lively's case. He sees most of her claims, defamation, retaliation, false light, as reputational injuries. This gives insight into his thinking. It's more about public image than employment harm. And so this was what was the talk of the town this week for a couple days. Everybody over on TikTok, a couple lawyers and stuff were doing lives and stuff talking about this, how um, it doesn't correlate, and the judge seems to be seeing it that way, that it doesn't feel like employment harm, because y'all remember the movie was done, nothing happened in the second half. So her employment wasn't harmed. I mean, she got the PGA credit. She was able to promote the movie. The movie made money. Um, and so yeah, it's talking about she mostly got a hit on her reputation after the fact, not necessarily it harmed her employment. And we'll get into more about the employment stuff, because that was a big talk, especially when it comes to her damages. So we'll get into that. Reputation versus employment claims. Lyman's language suggests that Lively's case isn't really about her job, but rather her reputation. Nag says that weakens her argument. Famous reputations are built from many factors, not just one event. And that's what a lot of people was the chatter with the citizens too, that um, I just watched a video this morning actually on how it was Colleen Hoover. It was over on TikTok. Receipts Proof Timeline had made a video about how um, the movie and all the talk, like the trash talking, came from Colleen Hoover fans as early as when she did the coloring book. So there was already kind of like harm towards the franchise and everything. So when Blake came on, there was already like reputational harm to like It Ends With Us when she came on. And I thought that was like a really cool way to see it, because not only does it predate Baldoni, it predates the movie itself, like it already came with baggage. So for her to prove that, people were going after her because of Baldoni, I mean, people were already going after the movie, people were going after the book when it came out. So it was already like a franchise that had chatter around it. It says Wayfarer ends with a sharp line noting that she's using sanctions to block their defense. Oh, okay, wait, sorry. I skipped through. Okay, hold on. Wayfarer's response to the birthing video motion. We're going to get into that. She praises their measured and strategic response. Says Lively waited too long to ask for sanctions and had already um, received the video she requested. The letter highlights her shifting claims, now demanding material she never initially requested. Wayfarer ends with the sharp line noting she's using sanctions to block their defense. So we're going to get into that one. The video's relevance and credibility about it. We're talking about Natasha Heath's birthing video that Blake wants. And Jamie Heath clapped back on that. So we'll get into all that. I'm going to just skip that for right now. Privacy and judicial optics mentions Natasha Heath's, let's see, strategic. Okay, so yeah, she warns that we'll get back to this half when we get to the video of Natasha Heath. So it says, even Judge Lyman is over Blake's bullshit. So this is what the citizens are talking about. Justice for BJS. If you guys don't follow her over on X, I love this account. They've been posting a lot on the Lively Baldoni stuff. And it says, they highlighted this piece. It says, even if the Wallace defendants did provide advice, counsel, and strategic assistance to the Wayfarer parties, rather than simply boosting negative content online, the question remains, advice, counsel, and strategic assistance regarding what? Like, this is another thing about Gottlieb that I think is crazy, that in the Drake case, he messed up because he didn't include like what in the lyrics of Kendrick Lamar's lyrics, like what it was that was prejudicial to him. Like, he didn't break it down. And that was part of the reason that the judge over there cited that, the only thing she could go off was what UMG had provided as far as context for the lyrics. And so I feel like here Gottlieb also missed the boat, because it says, like, regarding what? The only answer to that question that Lively's filings and complaint reasonably suggest is advice regarding publicity, public relations, and the shaping of public perception. So Gottlieb didn't include like details on like, well, what was the advice and counsel on what? So he seems like he dropped the ball, maybe have cost her the case here. I'm gonna go ahead and pause before we get into the next one and go see what the chat is saying. Oh, it was all small, y'all. My bad. I'm telling y'all, there's always difficulties. Sorry about that, you guys. I need to like come back and check when I pull stuff up. It was super small. Sorry about that, you guys. Let's see who else has come in. Um, we have Jesse and Max, asshole media over here. She's saying Steve Sarowitz paid 30K a month to do what y'all doing for free. What? Who's doing the content creators? Um, well, I mean, this is my Roman Empire, so obviously I just do it because then I can get it out of my head and get y'all to like sleuth it out and help me make sense of things. Good morning, DFJ. And Laura, our two beautiful mods are here. So she'll be back shortly. She says she's doing the rounds with the animals. Laura said, "It's okay, CJ, you were reading it to us." Yeah. And a lot of people listen while they're cleaning in the morning or, doing other stuff. So, um, yeah, that was my bad. I appreciate y'all though. Always some kind of like little tech difficulty. So we're gonna get into the next thing that happened, which was um Kevin Fritz had filed Blake Lively's second and third amended initial disclosures and unsealed those as well as the damages computations. Um, like I said, we did a video on the disclosures. You guys check that out because it does go like super deep dive into every single person. We talk about what they could be. I know that the disclosures provide what, Wayfarer and Blake had said, would be needed. But like what they would testify to, I guess. But we went deeper into like the documents where they're mentioned in the lawsuit info timeline, all kinds of different stuff. Some names of people who people didn't know who they were. We broke all that down. Um, but then the damages was like the really big one too here. Um, and I love this comment over on TikTok with same girl, different time. It says Blake Lively saying lost appearances in her list of damages obviously meant being disinvited from the Super Bowl. And I thought that was super cheeky because, yeah, she's saying that she lost money on appearances. And I'm like, since when did she make money off of appearances? She before it ends with us, she hadn't been in the limelight. There was no talking appearances. I'm like, what is she talking about? Her like victim talks because she's giving those. She had the Time 100 thing. She had I believe she talked somewhere else as well, in regards to was it Time and something else? Remind me, chat. I'm pretty sure there was 2 of them. But she's been appearing at stuff. She appeared at South by Southwest, so I don't know what this lost appearances is and her damages. And then I also like this one over from It Ends with Lawsuits. It says the damages pie chart. Wayfair had asked for 400 million in their lawsuit, and Lively's asking for 485 million just for herself. And I think it's closer to like 600 million. When somebody did the math, I don't know. I've seen different amounts. But yeah, it's a lot of money. And it like the math just isn't mathing. Here we have Cassidy O'Connell. Shout out to Cassidy. She does deep dive kind of sleuthing videos over on YouTube. And she just put a bunch of crying faces because it says Justice for BJS put so in total she's claiming she lost 161,000 or 161,200,000 in reputable harm and wages. Blake Lively, is the year 2024 or 2025? Because yeah, it didn't add up what she was talking about lost wages. Like lost wages for what? She wasn't making movies. And in fact, some of the chatter with the citizens is that there's a text message in the lawsuit info timeline between Ryan Reynolds and Justin Baldoni, where Ryan tells Justin, Blake has been passing up movies and she doesn't work with directors or does movies. Like she just passes it up. So you should feel lucky that she took this one on. So it's going to be hard to prove that she lost jobs when there's a text message showing that she was passing up on jobs before It Ends with Us constantly. I mean, the way that the text message is worded, it seems like, she wasn't. And there's rumors that Ryan doesn't let her work and that stuff. But her movie before that was Rhythm Section, which was, I don't know, years ago. So, yeah, I don't know how that's going to play out with the damages. We also had this over from It Ends with Lawsuits. where it says she had offers for directing jobs before, during, and since the film. If she wanted to direct, she could do so at any time. This is from the her first amended complaint or her second amended complaint, where she says that like she didn't try and take over the movie. If she wanted to direct, she could have, because she had directing jobs before, during, and since the film. So this is also going to come back and bite her in the butt, because if she's had directing opportunities since the film, and that's what she put in her amended complaint, um and then here's the text message right here with Ryan Reynolds. She literally passes on every film and every filmmaker all the time. Look at the words. All the time. Um, so yeah, you've hit the jackpot with B or whatever. This is Ryan to Justin. And so that's gonna set her back. Like, what did Blake say in her amended lawsuit? If she wanted to direct, she could do it at any time. And she's had um, she says right here, since the film. So what all did she lose? I know she keeps moving the goalpost, but if the smear campaign started in August and she's saying since the film premiered, did that really cause anything? So I don't know. The math isn't mathing on that. We have not actually Golden breaking down the damages. She says unredacted disclosures reveal Lively's full damages list, detail what she's demanding and how she calculated it. There's 4 categories in there: economic, non-economic, punitive, and fees and costs. Economic is lost income in business. Non-economic is her pain, suffering, and humiliation. Punitive is multiplies the actual damages, and this is, I believe, she gets times 3 damages, the treble. Um, these are claims, not proof. Each must still be proven in court. It says the sexual harassment claims values is 250K to 400K tied to the SH. Most damages stem from the retaliation, defamation, and contract claims. NAG says the case is built on retaliation, not harassment. Lost career opportunities, she was asking for 17 mil and lost acting, and 500K for speaking gigs, and 450K for appearances. Also around 37 million in projected future wages. And that's also going to be hard to prove, that because she I don't know if she was getting jobs, if she was passing them up. It just doesn't make sense, because future wages as to what? Like, there's no guarantee that she would have been offered jobs after. I mean, if she was difficult to work on set, that's not on Justin, like Hollywood talk. So I don't know. The whole thing that citizens are talking about in the chatter is like correlation versus like causation. Like, how do you prove that it was just Justin and Wayfarer solely and that there was no outside factors? You can't. NAG notes you must prove the smear campaign caused these losses. So how are you going to prove that that's exactly it? It just doesn't add up. And I believe in Heard versus Depp, that was a big deal too, about like losing the wages. And Depp was able to prove the Pirates of the Caribbean wages were lost, because he had like someone from the studio like come and testify or something, whereas Heard um wasn't able to prove it like beyond like a doubt that she lost wages. The role of the experts: every amount marked subject to expert testimony. So this is where the experts are going to come in. Today we had, or actually yesterday, November 9th, we actually did have an extension of time filed by both parties that the expert discovery is going to be moved to December 12th now. So yeah, they're going to have to hire experts from like that know about that. I don't know if they're going to have studio heads come in or what. I don't know who all is going to testify to it. Estimates are not enough. Experts must substantiate each claim, and experts' costs could be draining her resources. So she has to pay those experts to look into it and testify and all that stuff. Brand and business losses. She says she lost around 49 million for Blake Brown and 22 million for Betty Boos. This will also be hard to prove, because remember, Blake Brown had just launched in August. So to prove that it wasn't just the product that caused those losses, because if you look at all the reviews on her product, people say that their hair was falling out or like it dried it out. And, it wasn't for some people. Like, there was some reviews that were like, oh, this is a great product. But for the most part, even before the backlash where people were just, being mean because of the It Ends With Us stuff, in the reviews, she had legitimate reviews that were like, you know what, this product just doesn't work. So how are you going to prove that it's not just the product? And she even admits there's, I believe I had a text at one point, or a X thread, where she believed that like she changed the formula on something. There was an interview that she gave with like in Stylecast or whatever, where she's like, we had to change the formula because we listened to um the people or whatever, and we changed the formula. So how do we know that these losses weren't from, the formula not being correct? And she admits that she changed it. So there's a lot of things going on there. And then 22 million for Betty Boo's. Again, you have to prove that it wasn't her, because remember, she also wasn't marketing it. So of course, if you're not marketing it, you're going to get losses. And she's claiming that she didn't market it because people were being mean in the comments and stuff, but you can always turn off the comments. Um, NAG calls these figures unrealistic as lost profits are difficult to prove. Lively must link the alleged smear campaign directly to the brand decline. Around 65 million impressions caused 34 million in reputational damage, she's saying. NAG questions how impressions are monetized into loss. Notes these figures far exceed typical retaliation verdicts. And one of the things that they were talking about was like all these different cases. One of them was, if y'all ever heard of the teacher that got shot by the kid in school. I think it was like a kindergartner or first grader that shot her, and like she didn't like they were talking about the damages that she asked for and got, and it was like somebody who got shot didn't even ask for like this amount of damages. There were several cases that were being cited that they were like, she's out of control, asking for damages. Takeaway: only a small portion concerns the harassment. Most damages focus on the retaliation and the reputational harm. Even with experts, proving causation at this scale will be extremely difficult. So to me, it's like, well, why pursue all this? Like, I just keep thinking, like, Blake, what are you doing? Like, it's going to be so hard to prove, and especially to a jury that is going to come in being like, these are celebrities, they have money. A lot of them may not know who Justin Baldoni is, but maybe they may know Blake, and that they, at least for the very least, most people know Ryan. So are they going to want to give all this money to her? One of the things that I found compelling was, is it Ron or Rob Zambrano? That he's the lawyer that Andy has over on his channel. I posted it on my YouTube post. You guys can go watch it, but he was very compelling because he said you have to find like the fine line between what to ask for, because if you ask for too much, the jury's going to be like, that's wild. Oh no. And so you kind of have to find like this sweet spot, he said, of what to ask for to not get the jury to just toss it out and then you lose. So then with the text, or with the disclosures that got unsealed, like I said, I made a video. Um, it ends with lawsuit says mainstream media finally runs with Blake's witness list featuring people who weren't even on set. So a lot of these people on her list, and that's something we went over on that episode Saturday night, was all of Wayfarer's list is mostly crew, camera people, the anyone who had anything to do with the editing bay, the editors, the composers, it was mostly, I would say, about 80% people from the movie. And then whereas hers was about like 60 to 70% just her friends and her family. I mean, she has um what is it, Ryan Reynolds' niece in there. She's got her mom, Ryan's mom. And I'm assuming that all of those people are just about her, like garden variety. Let me pull it up because it is pretty funny, really quick. So if you guys go to docket updates, hold on one second. The disclosures are there, and I love that she puts like little descriptions in parentheses. But I love this. Look, BL's garden variety friend, because these are all people we're thanking for the garden variety emotional damage or whatever. So I thought that was pretty funny that she put those. And oh, one of the funniest ones that we went over was where is it? It's Jed Wallace. Where is he? And she put Texas resident. Oh my God, where is Jed Wallace? He was over here on the left somewhere. Oh, there he is. A Texas resident. I love that description. Jed Wallace, just a Texas resident. Um, so yeah, it's mostly her family and her friends. And some of the people were Hugh Jackman, Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt was Bocce Gohawk's Roman Empire, because she's like, Emily Blunt, what could she possibly have to say? It's like, I don't know if it was just somebody she called up and talked to about it, but at the same time, that's hearsay. That's just hearing it from her. It doesn't make it Bible. All three of her Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants stars, which I knew she was going to probably call on because remember, they had that sleepover in December on her Instagram. So Amber, Alexis, and America are all in there. Gigi Hadid. And then she also asked for like Candace Owens, Perez Hilton, Scooter Brown. There were some weird ones in there. And I wonder what's going on with Candace Owen. I had reached out to like the email that she has to see if she wanted to comment on like, whether or not the subpoena is still going on, like what's going on with you and Blake. But I haven't heard back. So I'm hoping that she says something about what's going on with that. Because then we're gonna get right into the Andy of it all. Let me check the chat real quick, y'all. Um, let's see what y'all are saying over here. Different amounts depending if treble 47.1 applies. It's mind blowing. Depp sued for 50 million. BL is not even close to his earnings. What the F, Miriam? Thank you, Miriam, for being a member, and thank you for your insight. Because yes, that's a better marker. I know a lot of people were talking about like people in jail who asked for damages. There was one person who was like, if you get falsely imprisoned, the most you can get is $50,000 for damages, and making comparisons like that. But this is more of an apples to apples comparison because Depp is also an actor, and so he sued for 50 million, and she's going for what, 600 million, or yeah, 600 million, something like that. She says, Tiffany says, I won't let my kids get TikTok, and I feel like a hypocrite if I do, but it sounds like there's stuff I need to hear. Well, you know what? If you don't want to get a TikTok and you still want to be, if you still want to know what's going on with creators, one of the cool parts about Docket Updates is that if you go into the latest news, let me see one. Let's do sanctions for the birth video. She has all the TikTok content here, and you don't have to go into it. So she gets the best of the best from the TikTok creators and post them in here. We sometimes we get Elsie in here. Just depends who's making videos, but you don't have to have a TikTok account to view it. So for now, you might want to try that. So you don't so the kids aren't like, well, you don't let me have one. Let me see what else is going on here. Who decides if she can be awarded these damages, the judge or the jury? It's the jury. The jury will decide. Let's see. When are the motions for summary judgment due again? Those are going to be due November 12th, and we'll go over that at the end of the show. What's coming up next? Let's see what else. KK said, yes, I don't have a TikTok account, so I can still watch it. Yeah, and I'll try and include a lot of the TikTok stuff over here. But if y'all can get a TikTok account, try and get one because I've been over there and I've had a lot of fun over there. And I have been going live a lot more over there because it's just super quick. And I will try and just go casually live. I know we had that poll on whether we should still do the daily shows. I at least stuck to Mondays. So we'll do at least the Monday weekly. That's for sure. I apologize to all my crime family. I didn't even make a post. I ended up passing out at like, I was going to take a nap last night or yesterday at 2 in the afternoon. And I ended up passing out till like 8 at night because I was just so tired. I had been up sleuthing a bunch of stuff that had to do with the Lively case and just going down the rabbit hole with these text messages that got on sale. There was a part in one of the text messages that talked about Colleen Hoover, where it seems like there was like some kind of let me pause on the Andy thing. There was some kind of like disagreement with Baldoni and Colleen, and it's Jen Abel saying, oh, it's Jamie Heath saying you shouldn't make a statement. You don't want Colleen to like say something back. And then Jen Abel texts him and says, well, how about this? How about we write, Colleen, I'm so sorry about that. The headline was misleading. If you look at the interview, you can tell I've always adored you. And so there was some kind of beef. So I was trying I don't know, I spent like 4 hours trying to find the article. That he was referring to. And I thought I found one, but the headline didn't match. Like it wasn't a misleading headline. But I found an article in which he's talking about citizens who say like she glamorized domestic violence. And he's like, I can see why they would say that, because if you went through domestic violence, it'd be weird to read it in a romance novel or read about it in a romance novel. And so that's the only thing that I could find where it could have been a slight. But yeah, I was up a lot. So I apologize for all the true crime people that were waiting on my episode on David, all the updates and stuff last night. I'm gonna try and do a updated video on this Sunday, hopefully. So apologies to that. It's just lively, had everybody so funny that Bocce actually over on TikTok ended up falling asleep on the live because yeah, me and her were up late sleuthing Saturday night after our show. We still wanted to like sleuth some more. It was like there's just so much stuff in those disclosures and the text messages. Uh love you reaching out for comment, journalist of the citizens. I know. I'm like, this is CJ from Objection Live. We just wanted to see what's going on. And yeah, but nobody has gone back to me. I felt like journalist when I reached out to Dog the Bounty Hunter because I wanted to have him on the show for comment on the Ellen stuff, but they never got back to me either. But you know what? At least I tried, right? So we're gonna get into Popcorn Planet's Andy Senor's Declaration and Privilege Log. That came out. He did a partial privilege log with a couple of stuff on it. And then he did do a video updating us all. It says, Unreal, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds want to destroy me, subpoena updates. So go over to Popcorn Planet. It does help him if you go and watch the video. So I'm not going to play it for you guys. It's only 13 minutes long. Go over there and check it out. I will let you know that he does talk about that the partial privilege log was handed over, but Meryl was apparently like, that's not enough. And how do we know you're not lying about what's in it? And kind of questioning stuff. And so apparently there's going to be some kind of in-camera review. The judge is going to review it in camera because Andy was just, as a like a good, like he's trying to get in good with the judge. He told the judge, like, look, I'll show it to you. Like I have nothing to hide. So he also talks about some other little Easter eggs between him and Ryan and why Ryan might have a grudge against him. And so it's a really interesting video. You guys go ahead and check it out and go support him, as well as he has a Give Send Go for his legal fund. He's fighting this, alone. And he's got, I believe it's Nate the lawyer who's his lawyer, but he's got legal fees and stuff. So it also helps the documentary, which is still supposed to come out. So if you guys can go support him over there. I know I did a lot of support for Perez. Obviously I can't go out to the court hearings because they're all over Zoom. But this is kind of a little bit of how I can support Andy while he's going through this because they're pretty much bullying him. And the latest has been this, which was order granting his extension of time to file. So he's asking to move it to November 19th to file the ex parte documents or the documents that he'll be giving for the ex parte in-camera review. And so what some people were talking about over on Reddit was how is it that, okay, so the movement must file written statements no later than November 12th, describing in detail the movement's search for responsive materials. The movement must also file a complete log of privilege and responsive materials no later than November 19th. And so a lot of people on Reddit were like, well, if the motion for summary judgment is on November 12th and the discovery over in New York has ended, like, why are they still trying to go after him? So I don't know how that works because, yeah, it's really weird. And one of the things that he talks about in his video, here's the judge, Lindsey Griffith. He's saying that this is such a complicated case over the New York case that he's afraid that the judge, Lindsey Griffith, isn't going to like take in the case because it's so confusing. There's so many moving parts that there might be something where she does grant them the ability to see his sources. And we know that the reason why it hasn't been dropped and why they're going so hard is because of the documentary. So this is the latest. He has an extension until November 19th. I guess we'll see what happens with this, but if you guys can and are able to go support him, please do. This is the last of the TMZ3 as far as we know, because Candace was also in the TMZ3. These were the TMZ3 subpoenas, which were Perez, Andy, and Candace. So as far as we know, Candace's was dropped. I know that the last we heard of it was that they asked her to wait until discovery ended in the Wayfarer thing. And one of the things that Andy also says in his video is that he's like, they should already have this from Wayfarer. He's like, if they want to know how my comment from Be Free, Brian Friedman came about, they should already know that from the documents that they obtained from, Be Free. So I don't know. This is just, it's a crazy part of the case. And if you guys want to keep up with that, you guys can go to docket updates, court cases, And as you guys can see, it's got all the different court cases. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, number 7 here is Popcorn Planet versus Blake Lively. You click on that, you go to court listener, and it's got always hit the descending order up here when you go to the docket because it'll give you the very latest, and that's the November 7th extension of time. And then this was just the minutes entry of what had happened at that proceeding when he went to court on Friday. It just says court calls the court to enter order directing counsel to identify and submit items in the privilege log for in-camera review by Monday, November 10th, and then another status conference on November 13th. So, yeah, that's the latest on Andy. So let's continue here. Let me see what's next. The next one is, the birthing video and the sanctions. Let me check the chat real quick and see what y'all are talking about over here. Anything else? Oh, you guys are talking about calling Judas Hoover. ACLU is not helping him, Joe. I don't know why he didn't go the ACLU route because we know as soon as ACLU came on board, Meryl did not want none of that smoke, so she dropped it. So I don't know why he wouldn't ask for the ACLU. I think his situation might be different because with Perez was just not communicating at all with them. He didn't get no statements from Friedman. Like his denial was, I wasn't working with them. I didn't get anything from Friedman. I didn't, whatever. Whereas with Andy is he did have communications with crew and people adjacent to Wayfarer, and he did have communications with Be Free with comment on the comment about, I forget what the comment was, but remember he was the first to go with the comment. Like none of the other media outlets had it. He was the first one. I think it was after the dismissal, maybe. So I think it might be a little bit different, and that's why maybe, they're not dropping it. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, good question there, Joe. Oh, Laura says they're still trying to get their help. Okay, so yeah, maybe he's still working on that. Says she can't stand that people are exposing her lies and she wants nothing more than the name, so she can't attempt to destroy them as she has everyone else in this case. Yeah. You summed it up pretty well there, Marie. So, let's get into the birthing video stuff. I don't understand why the judge has not quashed Andy's subpoena and Blake still gets more and more information now that discovery is closed. Yes, and that's what he says in his video. Not have to go through an actual party. Yes, that's what Andy keeps pointing out. He's like, dude, I can't get into your stuff because he points out the fact that he's not in the amended disclosures. His name's not on there. It's just Candace and Perez. He's like, because if they were to put my name in the disclosures, then he would be allowed to look into their stuff. Like he would be allowed to ask stuff from them. And so he's saying, I can't look into their stuff. Wayfarer can't look into their stuff anymore because discovery is closed. And this is a way for her to still be looking in for stuff. More so because she wants to rule out contradictory narratives in case someone violated their NDA. That's a good theory. They will wait to try and ruin everyone they can, including even if it takes years. Ryan's the type who will buy all your homes and have you kicked out, then burn the property. Well, he's got arson in his history. His name was removed from the disclosures, and maybe why they amended it because his was on there in the beginning. Yeah, it was removed. He's not listed in Wayfarer's disclosures, no, Marie. So let's get into the whole Blake's or his clapback. It was a great clapback from Jamie Heath. This is from a Little Nomad, who's my favorite sleuth. Go follow her at Past Nomad over on X. Independent investigative citizen journalism, good at finding random facts and connecting the dots. So she found this in regards to the birthing video. It says, is Blake Lively's memory reliable? On May 15th, 2023, the first day of filming, Jamie Heath introduced his wife to BL, sharing that he met her through Justin Baldoni, the same story he previously told on a podcast. But then BL framed the love story as passing along a woman and it being disturbing. So she mentioned this because a lot of people are like, why does Blake want smoke with Natasha Heath? It seems like she's going after her because, for one, it's this story where she said that, they were passing along a woman and it was Natasha Heath when that's not the way it happened. And I'll just here. If she saw a birthing video of Natasha or whatever, it's like she already knew who she was. Why disparage her and call it corn? Like, it was her birthing video. Like, this is a real person with real feelings and a mom at that. Blake's a mom too. Like, why would you hurt Natasha through this? Like, why wouldn't she just say like, "Oh, okay, weird, like, you're showing me your birth video or whatever," if she felt it was weird, but I mean, honestly, it wasn't that weird because it wasn't a normal workplace. It was in regards to an actual birth scene. But even if she had felt weird about it, it's just like, "Okay, whatever, let it go." But now it's a big old thing. Natasha's name is forever connected to this, and whoever the child was in that birth video is gonna be forever connected to it because, that image is out there and all that stuff, so yeah, it's really punk move from Blake on that, going after Natasha, and I love, at Plush Diaries over on TikTok because she made, like, 3 or 4 videos like, "What? Why does Blake want smoke with Natasha Heath?" Like, there's no reason for it. Hold on, let me pause that. Okay. It says Little Nomad also says it's either twisted memory or twisted morals. The whole birth video gate calling it corn and now demanding sanctions. It's infuriating when you know she met his wife in person. I wonder how much of the disgust she felt is due to her racism because both Heath and his wives are people of color. And so I know a lot of people feel hesitant to call out the race card and they're like, don't always make everything about race. But at the end of the day, they are, people of color, and we do know I'm not saying that she's racist or not. Obviously, I have my little bar down here, allegedly for entertainment purposes. Um, that covers me, but I mean, we do know that she's had comments that were, the blackface comments and all kinds of stuff. So a lot of people disregard that aspect of this whole thing, but that could be, like I don't know if she just felt a certain way about him, but for some reason she decided to go not after just Heath, but his wife. And I think that's like super low out of all the things that she's done. To me, this is one of the lowest, and like it's just gross that she would go after a mom like that. And I ended up putting some of my thoughts on here. If y'all don't follow me over on X, it's at cjournalist24. I have the same handle for all my social medias except for Instagram. Instagram is cj.cjournalist24 because I couldn't just get cjournalist24 for whatever reason. It was already taken. So really weird. But yeah, anyways, the question of precisely what she saw will be resolved by production of all birthing videos, says Ellen. So she clapped back at the fact that Blake wanted the birthing video. A jury will decide this issue based on the credibility of the witness, not whatever Lively may cherry pick for multiple recordings. The only thing that Lively will accomplish is to intrude on a highly personal and intimate experience to the extreme distress of Natasha Heath. So what she's saying is, okay, so what Blake is saying is that there was multiple videos and that the one that he provided was not the one she saw. Given that they both agree that it was only 1 second that she saw it. So how is her memory reliable as to what she saw? How does she know that's not what she saw? In the deposition, he says that there is, Jamie Heath does say that there is more videos in regards to the birthing scene, right? But the crazy part there is that um, he had all those on a different thumb drive. The only one he had on his phone was the after the birth. He took it on his phone. The other ones must have been like on a different camera or something else where it's on like a computer drive or a thumb drive or on his computer. So that's the longer video of the birth. So this is not an excerpt from the longer video or anything that he was trying to pass off as like, this is what I showed her. This is what was in his phone at the time. And according to him, he never even showed her the video. It was just the still of the start of the video as he was going to play it. And she was like, you know what? I'm not going to watch it until after lunch. She didn't even say like, oh no, I don't want to watch it or anything. She said, I'll watch it after lunch. So according to Jamie, it wasn't ever even played. It was just the first 1 second of the still that he wanted to show her, I guess. So yeah, so she claps back. It says, I put Ellen did not come to play. As we all know, whose story has stayed consistent and whose story has shifted. So who will the jury believe if it comes down to witness credibility? If the jury has to decide whether that was the video that was shown or not, Heath seems like he's more of a credible witness than Blake because she kept switching up her story, which was the case in Heard versus Depp. If you guys remember, she was just not a credible witness. Her stories kept changing. She said she never did drugs at Coachella. Her sister said that they were doing drugs. So it was a lot of lies that the jury, I assume, was like, it's just the math isn't mathing. And the same thing I think happened in the Diddy trial. People were like, Diddy should have gone to jail for years, da da da. They did a very good job, the defense in the Diddy trial, of impeaching all these witnesses. The stories did not add up. with Cassie, with the other witness saying that she had gotten hung off the balcony and showed pictures of her bruises, but then the metadata in those pictures showed that it was a whole different date, and that he wasn't even in LA on that date. So they were pictures of bruises that had happened, you know, after the fact, or some other thing had caused those bruises. So it didn't align. There was a lot of stuff that just did not add up. And whether or not that's just because it was years ago and, you know, your memory is shifts or whatever. Luckily with this, it's only been 2 years. So it's not like, you know, you can lose memory on stuff over 2 years. I guess it just depends on me. I forget things. As I'm talking here, I'll be like, wait, what was I saying? So I don't know. I guess it depends on the person. But still, when you're dealing with courts, it's very important to be a reliable witness, to have your story straight, to have your dates straight, all that stuff. And then I also posted this one. I said that clapback from Ellen on Blake Lively's request is spicy. She said, ma'am, you should know better. So right here at the bottom, it says Heath at the director's recommendation attempted to show Lively the video. Lively characterizes this as an incident of harassment. As a mother of 4 and an actress who was shooting a birthing scene for the film, Lively should know better. And yeah, a lot of people were just talking about how it pertained to the scene. Like, no matter what, this is like super gross. It's just, even after the fact that you know it's a birth video, to still call it corn. So we're waiting on a decision from the judge on this. Now that he's replied back, I don't think Blake gets another chance to reply. I'm not sure how that works because these are just letters. Usually with motions, there's the person who does the motion, um, and then the person who, you know, replies to or responds to that, and then the reply to that. So I'm not sure if letters are the same way. But basically, she wants to not only get the full birth video, which was never shown to her off of this thumb drive, whatever. She also wants um, Jamie to not be allowed to testify in court because of the fact, like, as a sanction for not providing the video. And all the lawyers on TikTok, all the lawyers on YouTube, like every lawyer that has talked about this has said they've never seen anything like this. There's sanctions where like you can't use the evidence or you can testify but not as to the facts of like the video because it wasn't provided, but not just you can't testify at all. So she was definitely overreaching. I have no clue. This was Ezra. I don't know why she did that or what, but even lawyers are baffled as to like what she was asking for. So most people think the judge is not going to sanction Heath, nor is he going to make him provide the full birthing video. I think this is just like going to have to go to court. And like she said, the jury's going to have to decide whether or not that was the video that was shown on that. So that's everything on let me see what's going on over here in the chat, y'all. Um we have a pretty good crowd, almost 100 people this morning. I knew it wasn't going to be as big of a crowd because it's just a recap, and most people have already like heard or talked about all this all through the week, and a lot of people have burnout. I know I should have been smart about it, but also, you know, it's my Roman Empire, so it's all I think about. I love with DFJ. I always tell her like I'm gonna quit or I'm gonna take a break, and she's always like, you know what? And Laura too. Both of them, I'll tell them like I'm quitting. I'm gonna take a break. And then I never do because I'm just constantly thinking about like what if this, what if that, especially with the like the disclosures and stuff. I wanted to know like who are these people, like what are they going to testify to, um and my newest Roman Empire is Jenna Redfield, which is someone who was in the disclosures that was a TikToker, um and just trying to find like the DMs that she's talking about, um that were sent to her, because to me I'm like, what if this regular girl in Minnesota started it all? Like, what if somebody just sent her a DM and then she's the one that started the smear campaign, um, like against JB, and like then, you know, Blake's people or JB's people might have thought like, oh, what is this? And maybe said something else, or like, you know, the crew members wanted to defend him. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, what if it all started with this young kid and or young girl in I don't even know how old she is. She looks like she's like in her early 20s. But yeah, what if it all started with her? So she's been my new Roman Empire, Jenna. But anyways, all that to say that some people decided to take a break this week until the motion for summary judgment. Because y'all, that's gonna be spicy. It's 60 pages. The judge limited both of them. And I'm sure that was mostly for Blake, to 60 pages, but it's gonna be 60 pages of, you know, this is why you should throw it out. And they both get to do a motion for summary judgment. Her is like pay me my money, and then him is I want it thrown out. But let's see what else is going on over here in the chat. Who got muted on X? DFJ, you got muted? Um, I don't know. There's a ton of text messages. So I mean, a text message, a ton of stuff in the chat. I can't go all the way back. So let me just see what's going on over here. Um, who needs to go do the rounds with all the content creators? Made more sense why his family was listed in her disclosures. He is the moneymaker, so they have to protect them. Who are we talking about? Let me see if I can scroll up. Oh, is it a different case y'all are talking about? Oh, and thank you, Laura, for putting up my ex. There's my ex, C Journalist 24. Y'all, if y'all don't follow me over there, give me a follow. I set my goals, so I want to get to 5K on, I think I'm at 4,800 over on X. I want to get to 5K by the end of the year. Here I'm at 1.8K. I'm trying to get to 2K. So if you're not subscribed right now, friendly reminder, go subscribe. And yeah, I'm trying to get to 2K here. And then on TikTok, I'm trying to get to 1K. I'm at, I think, 560 right now. Oh, it was Jesse Max that got muted on X. Oh, okay. Who's Rick Fedek? Oh, the guy that's okay, I'll reach out to him if you guys want. That's the journalist. And I'm glad his story is coming back because you know what? I'm gonna do an episode. I have the thumbnail, like I told y'all, it's called We Have to Go Back. And because his story had already come out like way in the beginning, February, March. His story was all over. And so that's cool that sure Steve, he's the journalist that Leslie and all them made up a story about like what actually happened, but he had footage or there was surveillance footage from the parking lot. They said that he was harassing him and all that stuff, and it turned out not to be true. So let's just continue as we wrap up the show here. All parties were seeking an extension of time and clarification. So the new normally it was going to be the motion for summary judgment is on the 12th, and then they had until like I think it was like 7 days, the 19th, to reply. But now they're saying they're going to need more time to reply. So oppositions to the MSJ, excuse me, are due December 3rd, and then the replies to that are due December 12th. So unfortunately, I was thinking that, it was originally supposed to be November 26th. So I was thinking that we would hear something before December, and maybe we couldn't just enjoy December and the holidays, like the whole month of December. But it seems like that's not the case now because there's still going to be drops during the month of December. And like I said, it's 60 pages for each and then 30 pages for the replies. And then let's see. So yeah, it's this is the same thing. It's the joint answer. I was like, I guess we're not going to be able to enjoy the holidays because from what I'm thinking, we might not get an answer from Lyman until after the new year because the replies are due December 12th, unless he can just, get it to us before Christmas, and that'll be, happy 1-year anniversary. It got dropped. I'm hoping. I know a lot of people wanted to go to trial, which brings me to Brian Friedman over on TMZ. That's the very latest that happened. So this happened, I believe, Friday. Harvey Levin from TMZ he admitted that he got numerous tips from Blake Lively's side. And when TMZ tried to get a comment from Brian Friedman, he left them on red. So Blake's team is talking to TMZ and Brian isn't answering. Interesting. So he went on TMZ. I know a lot of people were like, well, why did Brian go on TMZ? Because he had already put out a statement about the fact that, here's a statement, about the fact that MSM was spinning headlines and manipulating the media by saying that Baldoni had missed deadlines to the appeal. And so this is his statement. And so he ended up going on TMZ. And a lot of people were like, well, why did he go on TMZ? Was it to just clarify that stuff that, MSM was doing all this? Because this is Harvey's response to him basically saying like MSM is trash is basically what Brian Friedman was saying. And he's just like, well, we try to get, both sources and we try to get both sides, but sometimes the other side doesn't answer. And it's a really good one. It's about 30 minutes long. If you watch it on 2x speed, it's 15 minutes long. I know Bocce Go Hawks over on TikTok has the 11-minute version in 2x speed, which is without the commercials or the ads and just pertaining to the Blake stuff, because they did talk about some other stuff at the end. There's a really funny Diddy part at the end of it. But go watch it. I know that a lot of people don't want to support it. I might do a reaction video because I had a ton of insights on it, just little Easter eggs that I was like, oh my God, I know why he said that, or I know why this was said. So I might still do a reaction video to it, because a lot of people were like, "I don't wanna go support TMZ. I don't want to go watch it." I know that Els Rich, over on YouTube did a reaction video, so if you guys don't wanna support TMZ, you can go over there and watch it with her. I think it's at Els Rich over here, or at Els Rich TV. If Laura can put it in the chat, you guys can watch it over there. But yeah, this is the summary of it from Not Actually Golden. She says, it explores how PR teams and media interact in shaping narratives. Yeah. I want to do a video for TikTok on just the snippets of where Harvey literally breaks down the whole PR scheme. He talks about side doors, how you try to go and get it from other people if the party can't answer in time. And it was really compelling to know, like, we're getting it's like the Wizard of Oz. We're getting to see behind the curtain. A key question: can a publicist truly plant a false story unchecked? NAG notes that the public trust in media is at an all-time low. Friedman's podcast appearance in Damage Control suggests Friedman appeared partly to correct the earlier missed deadline story, feels the exchange as him reclaiming control of the narrative. Friedman's vague answer on appealing the dismissal, saying it depends, is she interprets it as tactical, keeping the appeal as leverage. So he did say that, we don't know if we're going to appeal. It depends on what happens. If we win and we felt like we won, if they win the trial, if it goes to trial, and he did say it's going to go to trial, that's what he wants it. So I don't know um eh, how that works with the motion for summary judgment. Like, I wonder if they were like, we're just not going to file one, we're going to trial. I don't know. That would be crazy. But it seems like he wants to go to trial from what he said. He said it like 3 or 4 times, like, no, this is going to go to trial. It has to go to trial. The threat of appeal gives Wayfarer bargaining power in any settlement talks. So I don't know. Settlement talks, maybe no motion to dismiss. I don't know. From what he said on TMZ, and you guys can watch it for yourselves and tell me, it seems like he wants this to go to trial. Um, and then it goes on to say, NAG believes the countersuit is about pressure, not victory. If Baldoni wins on key claims, the appeal becomes unnecessary and the goal is achieved. So that's what Friedman was kind of saying, with like, we don't know what's going to happen, how the parties are going to feel. And knowing Baldoni and Heath and Sarowitz and how like nice they are, I doubt that they would go and appeal the countersuit. If they did, get, but who knows? Who knows? After being put through all that, who knows? You might want accountability. She reads Friedman's "We'd love to go to trial" as strategic posturing. She puts heavy pressure on Lively side with dispositive motions pending, such as the summary judgments and stuff. Wayfarer currently has multiple depositive motion opportunities with a strong procedural footing, so she's giving them like the higher ground over here. Lively's motion for summary judgment is going to be weak due to factual disputes in it. So remember, if there's any factual disputes in it, it has to go to trial because that's something that a jury has to decide. The good guy narrative reacts to Friedman calling Baldoni a good guy. Women have heard that defense too often, only to see it disproven. So I don't know what that's about, but I mean, we all know, we've seen it. The proof is in the pudding. Obviously, we don't live with him day to day, but everybody who does and who has worked with him in the past, I've never heard anything disparaging aside from that cinematographer who it was creative differences, and then that the basketball player guy who also had creative differences about his movie. I've never heard anything bad said about Baldoni. And you guys in the chat can let me know if that's true or not. But from what and I've done several deep dives, those are the only two. And then Claire, who supposedly had a problem with him. But again, creative differences. Creative differences doesn't make somebody a bad person. That's just a difference of opinion. But with Blake, there's been people that I know personally on TikTok, like Alicia Van Gooden, who's worked with both Blake and Justin, and she basically says, she's a script supervisor, and she says, like, Blake was not even when she was asked who's the worst to work with, she said Blake is worse than the person that she said was worse to work with, because she's like, at least that person was worse to work with just because she was like mean. She's like, but Blake completely ignores you and makes you feel inhuman, like you're not a human, like you're not worth anything, like almost like making you invisible to her. And so that's even worse than just being mean. So this is from people that, I know personally and have talked to about it. And so I don't know. It just seems like, I don't know about that. I feel like he is who he says he is through his actions and what at least I've seen. No big revelations, but confirms Wayfarer's team is playing leverage and timing smartly. Nag thinks Friedman's tone shows quiet confidence, but waiting to see how the dispositive motion lands before making the next move. So that's the summary on all that, y'all. I did want to just quickly, as we're wrapping up, because we're already at an hour and 10, I think. he did talk about mass media, and he does talk about how it's really powerful people. If you guys go over on my TikTok, I did like a little video. I think it's on YouTube here too. Go to my shorts. There's a video with Brian Friedman talking about the media, and then I put this over it. And so obviously it's for entertainment purposes. I'm not saying this is what happened, but on October 20th, it was published on the 21st, but on the 20th, she's seen outside Penske Media. And this outlet that posted this, um, Footwear News, it's ran by WD, Women's Daily or whatever. I don't know what it's called, what the abbreviation is for, but um, who is owned by Penske Media. So the first people who put this out, that she was out in NYC with her shoes and all that, um, worked, it's the Penske Media company. And so it says Monday she was visiting the Penske Media headquarters. And this was the 20th when the Claire Ayub recording came out. So it was to distract or whatever. I don't know. But it seems like she has this relationship with Penske. And I joked around that I was like, can she not put in a good statement for Drake? Because there's right now a big thing on how there was a smear campaign allegedly from Penske towards Drake, that there's a lawsuit against Spotify, and Drake's mentioned in like a little blip saying that some of his songs were affected. It's basically a lawsuit against Spotify about bot streams, and they ran with, this is a lawsuit against Drake, and that he was using bots to get streams, which is not the case. It's a lawsuit against Spotify. And so that's one where Penske's involved, and then Little Uzi Vert, I might cover this. Him and well, you guys know I don't cover anything Mr. Hove because that's dangerous, but it is Hove, Our Nation, and Little Uzi Vert. It's an employment dispute against them, and people were saying like all the Penske Media owned companies, like no one's reporting on it. Like only on X have I seen people reporting on it, but MSM is not reporting on this lawsuit. And so you wonder why. So that's just a little Easter egg on the Penske Media stuff, whether or not that's the reason why MSM keeps running anti-Baldoni stuff. Are they connected? Is Penske connected to Blake? We obviously saw her visiting the headquarters. So that's for y'all to find out. Again, this is for entertainment purposes only, allegedly. And then just to wrap up, what's next? Little girl attorney, countdown to summary judgment and what to expect. She says the summary judgment filings are just days away. Both sides now have access to all the evidence. So now all the discovery is done. All we have left is the expert testimony, which isn't like, we're talking about all the evidence needed to prove the case, basically. Summary judgment is used mainly by defendants to argue that a claim falls under the law and facts, similar to an MJOP, but includes evidence to show that no factual dispute exists. So that's why this is going to be so exciting. I'm going to go live as soon as it drops. And I know a lot of other content creators are also going to go live, but I feel like I just want to experience it with you guys instead of like being in the chat somewhere else. But, always support other creators, like, because I know I'm going to be replay crew for some of the other people, but I had already told myself, I was like, I'm going to go live as soon as it drops because I want to read it with you guys and experience it with you guys. If facts are undisputed, the judge can rule on them. So it says examples and standard. If Lively can present conflicting evidence to counter Wayfarer, then it goes to a jury. A factual dispute, a he said, she said, defeats summary judgment. So Wayfarer will likely choose the claims they think are airtight for MSJ. The judge won't weigh credibility. They only check if the facts are disputed or not. Because remember, if there's any discrepancy in facts, that's for a jury to figure out. Sexual harassment claims rarely get dismissed at this stage as they are too fact-based. So maybe just the retaliatory claims might be the ones that get thrown out. A protective order warns that evidence used in summary judgment won't likely stay sealed. Only personal identified data will be redacted. So we'll get to see all like new evidence and stuff. Unredacted scripts, internal emails, and unseen messages. Plaintiffs rarely file for summary judgment, but Lively may do this just for PR. Possibly aims to sway the public opinion and distract the public from Wayfarer's defense. LGA predicts Lively's motion will be massive. So we'll see if that is the case or not as we wrap up here. If y'all don't follow me over on TikTok, like I said, it's the journalist 24 over on TikTok, and I have all these cool little videos. I love this one. I'm gonna play walking into the Lively Baldoni trial. Like, I don't know if y'all can hear the audio super loud. but he's basically saying the case has to go to trial. It's Brian Friedman in the back, but, yeah, if you guys, can follow me over there and follow my community over on X, all of that, all those links are up at the top of my, file. Oh my god, y'all, I had that comment up the whole time. Sorry about that, y'all. Um, so yeah, we're wrapping up the show, so let's see what were you sharing a link to? I don't remember. I think Elsrich, maybe? Um, oh, the TMZ video, you linked it already. Okay, cool. Oh, little girl attorney. Okay. If it goes to trial, I really want to go, says Tiffany. Yeah, me too. I know Bocce's gonna be there. It's gonna be her birthday. If you want to relax your very soul, Ewood music. Well, what is Ewood music? Can you remind me when MSJ and MJOP will be decided? Okay, so this is what we're waiting for. Today, we're getting a drop, you guys. Today we're getting a drop, and it's going to be the response to the what was it? The sanctions on Melissa Nathan. Remember that she wanted to sanction her for like improperly redacting docs or whatever, which is rich coming from her that never redacts anything. The unsealed stuff that was unsealed that was supposed to be redacted with the text messages, they left Justin Baldoni's phone number unredacted. So yeah, really rich coming from them. So that's going to be today, you guys. And then Wednesday we have the motion for summary judgment and the I believe the MJOP too, the reply that because remember, Baldoni and Wayfarer filed the MJOP, and then the reply to that is due November 12th. I believe. Let me go look. Let me go double check on the court calendar. Remember, we have docket updates over here. Calendar. Let me go look. November. Okay, no. See, I was wrong. November 19th is when she replies the deadline for the MJOP. So this is where we're at today. WP responds to motion for sanctions. The 12th deadline to file motions for summary judgment from both parties will be the 12th. The 13th is the hearing for Popcorn Planet. I believe it got. They're still going to have a hearing, and then on the 19th is his deadline. He extended to look at it. So I don't know if that's going to move the hearing too. And then the deadline for Blake is going to be the 19th. When they can decide on that is going to be not until after December, because remember then this isn't updated. I don't think. No, it wasn't updated. Let me see if I can find it again. Remember that they did an extension. Let me see if I can find it again. What was the extension? Is it over here? Yeah, right here. So now it's due. The opposition is due December 3rd, and the reply is due December 12th. So we're not going to find out what the judge decides until after the 12th. And it takes them a little while to oh shoot, and it's all small. Sorry about that, y'all. So yeah, so it'll be after the 12th. By sheer coincidence, you have Thursday off of work, and I'm so excited. Yeah, so we're thinking it's probably gonna drop Wednesday at midnight because normally they drop it like super late. Hey Lori, we're just wrapping up here, but thank you for stopping in. You could be part of replay crew here. BF had to bring her monthly payment to Penske. BL had to bring her monthly payment to Penske for her smear campaign against WP. Allegedly for entertainment purposes. That's funny. Oh, Ewood Music. Now I know what you mean about Ewood Music. That's the other guy that had gotten that Blake had gone after. Oh, you're welcome, Lori. Thank you so much. And if you want to support my work, you can become a subscriber for $2.99. That helps with my StreamYard fees. I think I have 10 subscribers right now. I'm looking to reach 20 by the end of the year. That's my goal. I've been doing goals ever since I've been on TikTok, because TikTok, every time you go live, you have like a live goal, like what you want to accomplish in that. And they have all kinds of cool little like gifts, like little emoji gifts. Instead of super chats over there, it's like little emojis that you send. And so you can set the goal. And so I don't know, I've been like into the goal setting lately through that. Yes, Laura, you are amazing. And so is DFJ. Go ahead and give DFJ is actually a content creator. So give her a follow over on X at don't FCK with justice. DFJ, if you want to drop your stuff there, your handle there. And she's also on YouTube. We do some true crime stuff together. And then also just give Laura a follow over on X. She has her X account over there. Give her a follow as well. She doesn't create content, but she does have some insights here and there, some replies and stuff. You guys can go and hang out with her. Um, oh, and look, Tiffany just became a member. Thank you so much, Tiffany. I love that. Like I said, I'm trying to get to 20 before the new year. So, and you get a free super chat now, Tiffany. So once a month, you get to just do a super chat where your comment will be highlighted like this in green. You'll get a badge, and I'm gonna get some stickers. Over here. I wish that the episode was it's already an hour and 15 minutes because I would show you guys my stickers because I made stickers over on TikTok for my fan club over there. And so I'm gonna bring them over here. And I have one that says allegedly. I have one that says I don't want no smoke. I have one that says so it'll be like little emojis that you guys can use as members. I'll bring them over here. But there's one that says my Roman Empire. So just like little CJ isms that I say. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna try and keep coming back to YouTube. Somebody else said to upload the TikTok lives over to YouTube. So I'm gonna figure out how to save those because there is a way to save them because when Bocce fell asleep, they ended up reposting that she had fallen asleep. So there must be a way to get the highlights or like, there's a way that the video is saved because Bocce, she just reposted herself. I love it. And that's when I was like, wait, so did someone record that? Like screen record it, or was that you can actually save it? And I guess you can actually save the video. So I have to figure it out. Uh, your new icon is a smoke cloud with the red cross circle over it. Oh my God, that is a good idea. I might make one like that because everybody was laughing on the live when I was like, I don't want no smoke. And this is why I don't report on like every single little thing. I think MSJ is Wednesday, but Melissa Nathan response for sanctions is due today. Yes. And yeah, welcome, Tiffany. I appreciate you guys. I would love to stay and chat much longer. I really enjoy hanging out with you guys in the morning. Y'all make my morning every morning. I will try and come on again sometime this week. If not, you guys can find me over on TikTok or here. And like I said, I'll try and go live as soon as it drops the motion for summary judgment. I'm going to see if I can try and get some people on with me as well. Because I know everybody's going to want to do like their own thing. So we'll see if anybody wants to come on or whatever. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful morning. Take care and see you on the next one.